As part of the Sound Memories research project, Professor Susan Rankin and I are looking into the music of 13th century Paris, and in particular the polyphonic music associated with Notre Dame Cathedral. As part of the dissemination of the Cambridge team's work, we've been putting on a number of conferences and seminars, both in Cambridge and further afield. We also have an associate partner, Anonymous 3, who specialise in the performance of medieval and early modern music, and we've put on concerts both here in Cambridge as well, but also across Europe, including Prague and Warsaw. Most recently, we've collaborated with an outreach project at the Faculty of Music called Roots.
So Roots is a project that looks to take music, and in particular singing, out into our local schools in the region, to introduce them to early music and to find ways of interacting between researchers who are interested in children's music or singing in general from the Middle Ages and today's children. So there are two schools involved in the project, one in Cambridge and one further beyond. We have the two universities in Cambridge, two professional ensembles, a local charity for early music, and Cambridgeshire Music, which is responsible for delivering education in our schools in the region.
The project is important from our point of view because we are reaching schools that do not have many opportunities to work with professional singers. And indeed, they don't have opportunities to learn the kind of repertoire that they've been learning.
My work as part of the outreach project, Roots, is to go into schools and introduce them to medieval music, and in particular its historical context. So I go into a classroom and tell children a little bit about the manuscript and the music that they're singing from. And I also work with classroom teachers to build resources and develop lessons to work through some of this material.
So the children that have been involved in this project have not experienced much early music before, so it's very helpful for them to see a little bit of the context of where the music came from. And we had a wonderful presentation from Adam Matthias, who showed us some slides of the music and taught us about the parchment and the way that the pages were prepared. And this is very important for the children to be able to see the context of where the music that they're singing has come from.
For a lot of students, medieval music can seem a little bit unfamiliar and unusual, whether that's a 9th century chant or a 13th century polyphonic motet. Its sound and its look on the page can really be quite strange and striking. I'm introducing students to medieval music and really capturing that moment of strangeness, and the result is really fascinating. Putting up an image of a medieval manuscript solicits all sorts of really interesting questions from students, and I've been struck by their level of engagement and just the quality of their questions as well, so that's been really great to see.
Adam came into our last session with Chris learning the songs and making sure we were ready for the concert, and he showed us one of the songs we were singing, which was Summers Are Coming In, and he showed us the actual piece of parchment which it was written on and the writing and how they wrote on it and the ink and where it was made and stuff.
Yeah, and it was also really interesting, especially learning about songs in another language that we don't actually hear on the radio. And we discovered a lot of new stuff that was new to us. And at first you might have thought, oh, this is a bit weird, like I don't really enjoy this. But then the more and more you do it, the more you get into it and you realise that this is actually really interesting and you want to do it.
So one of the songs that we were learning was printed in Oxford, and then it was brought down to Reading. And then it came across to London, and I found that really interesting, how it had travelled so much. And he also talked about how the parchment was made back in those days.